You're watching Sunday Sound Off with Frank Bull.
Welcome back to Sunday Sound Off, and our first hot topic of the night. Where is your comfort level with quarterback Alex Smith? Mark.
Oh, my comfort level is just fine right now, Frank. It's just fine. And when I say that is he's doing what he needs to do for this team to continue to win football games right now. He is being the game manager that everybody says he is. Would we all like him to be better? Absolutely. But he was 21 of 25 today for 270, one touchdown. Now, he did have the one fumble, but this is a formula for success overall as a team for the Kansas City Chiefs. This isn't about Alex Smith anymore, I don't think. This is about the resilience of this team and what they're doing to win football games. And over the last 2 weeks, though, he has done enough to show me that he's the guy that needs to lead this team into the future. And when I say the future, here into the playoffs for this year at this point. I'm not going to go toward next year or the year after that at this point, but he's the quarterback that fits the model of what this team is built to be right now, and that's just not to lose a football game and to go out and play well. And I think the last 2 weeks, you go look back to the Sunday night game a week ago when he was able to lead this team from behind with a key 2-minute drive at the end of the game and then to win it in overtime. And then you look at this week, coming out, opening couple drives, throwing the football down the field, starting to open this offense up a little bit. He was efficient today. He was what he needed to be today. So my comfort level right now is just fine with Alex Smith.
Steven, your comfort level with the quarterback.
First, I'm gonna take up from my man Soren Petro. People were trying to crush him on Twitter, but for Soren to show up here tonight wearing an Alex Smith jersey, I thought was such a huge statement. He didn't wear it on TV, but he had it down there in the offices. We were high-fiving. We loved it. But look at Alex Smith. The last 2 weeks, you've had plenty, if you're on either side of the fence, either pro-Alex Smith or anti-Alex Smith. Against the Broncos, he didn't play well for the first 3.5 quarters, but then he came through when the game was on the line. Today, he played well for most of the game, but then with about 9 minutes left, he missed a wide-open Spencer Ware that could have put the game away. It would have been a touchdown. He missed it, and that left the door open for Atlanta, and they drove down, and they took the lead. And if not for Eric Berry's play that got the Chiefs 2 points to put them back in the lead, we might be talking about how Alex Smith blew it when he didn't hit Spencer Ware wide open. So you've got ammunition on both sides of the argument, but right now Alex Smith is playing well enough to allow this football team to get to the playoffs and to make something happen.
Okay, Twitter boy. Over there in the corner, what do you got?
That's amazing. Well, I was looking at Twitter. I kept waiting for Stephen St. John to stick up for Travis Kelce, but it just wasn't going to happen in this game. No, look, Alex Smith, I know I do get labeled as the guy who's hating on Alex Smith, and what I think I really am is the guy who's realistic about Alex Smith. Everybody as a fan wants to be 0 or 100. He's either awful and the worst quarterback that ever lived. That's not the case. Or he's the greatest quarterback and perfect for this football team and absolutely can do no wrong. That's not the case either. Stephen hit upon it. If not for Eric Berry, the story of this game would have been Alex Smith missing a wide open Spencer Ware for the game-winning touchdown. Now, I'm going to stick up for Alex Smith a little bit on that throw. It's harder than it looks. Yes, he's wide open, but Smith was running to his left and had to kind of come back and float the ball over there. That's a very difficult throw to make. He wasn't able to make it, but that's who he is. Alex Smith is a guy who's not going to kill you for the most part. That's what made the Bucs game so tough for Chiefs fans to stomach, because that interception is exactly the play that he doesn't make. He didn't make that play against the Atlanta Falcons. He gave them an opportunity to win. Did he win the game? Absolutely not. He was 18 yards below in passing yards what the Falcons give up on average. This was the worst passing defense in the NFL that then lost one of their starting cornerbacks for the year coming into this game. So hanging 270 and 1 touchdown in the air against this defense is not a tremendous success. But he is what he is. He did not lose the game, and this defense is incredibly opportunistic. The coaching staff does a great job of finding their chance to go for the jugular, and they did it again. So, they win with Alex Smith. I'm not going to say they win in spite of him, because that's not the case. That wouldn't be fair. They win with him, but not because of him.
All right, it's our next hot topic. We'll move to the other side of the line of scrimmage. Can the Chiefs bend but not break defense win in the playoffs? Steven.
I think it can. And now that Justin Houston is back, D Ford was back. He didn't look totally 100%, but if you get that tandem going, and Tom Ali has looked better the past couple of weeks. But the guy is Eric Berry. you think about the plays he's made. I mean, he almost single-handedly won that game against Carolina with the pick six, and today they don't win without his two big plays. And now you have a situation where you have big-time playmakers and leaders back healthy on that football field for the defense. They're never out of it, and sometimes they put the game in their hands, and they're able to score and help this team win. This defense is, I keep saying special. I keep saying a team of destiny. This defense is coming up with big plays when they need it, and yes, I think this defense is good enough to win in the playoffs.
Soren?
I'm sensing a theme here with Steven. He seems to feel like Eric Berry had something to do with this win. Yeah, look, to the point of the question, can the Chiefs bend but don't break defense win in the playoffs? I think, yes, it can, and I think for a couple reasons. One, Steven's absolutely right. Eric Berry's been a very good safety in this league up until this year. Now he's maybe the best safety in football because he's making those game-changing plays. He's turning over the opponents, he's getting the interceptions, and he's getting scores. And that's maybe an underrated part of his game as well. These aren't the first couple of touchdown returns that he's had in his career, but he's had 2 in one season. He's done that twice in his career now. He's moving up the Chiefs' list of defensive scores, and of course the 2-point conversion is not going to be listed there, but it might as well have been a touchdown. Yeah, I think Eric Berry taking his game to another level gives him another big playmaker. And I think the other aspect that you like about this is we haven't really seen the full complement of players all out there on the field, all healthy at the same time. Now, with Jay Howard done for the year, Allen Bailey done for the year, we're not going to see the defensive line depth that they thought that they were going to have all along, although the young players and the backup players are playing very well. But I do think once you can get a healthy D Ford, Justin Houston maybe not battling the shoulder, he had to leave the field for a while today, get all of those playmakers out on the field, and yes, they look a lot like the 2001 New England Patriot defense. It was definitely bend but don't break and made big plays when they needed it, and so I think that's the model you're trying to follow, not the 3 and 4 Patriots, not the ones that had a dynamic offense later on in Tom Brady's career, but the one that had a quarterback that really managed the game if you look back at Tom Brady's statistics, and then had a big drive when he had to have it in the Super Bowl, and the defense came up with the big plays when they needed it.
Mark?
Well, I think Soren hit on it. I think they can win with the bend but don't break defense, and he hit on it with the injury situation right now for this defense. We haven't seen the full complement of this defense over the entire course of the year. When you start looking at the injuries with Justin Houston now coming back, with D Ford being banged up the last couple of weeks, Allen Bailey, Jay Howard going on, who they signed to a nice deal in the offseason, going on the injured reserve. We haven't seen this defense at its complete full strength at all. And I don't think it's really so much about this defense being a bend but don't break defense. It's about this defense being opportunistic. And that's why they can win in the playoffs and go, I feel, quite a ways in the playoffs. Now, I'm not ready to anoint them that they're going to the Super Bowl by any means when we get to the playoffs, but this bend but don't break defense style fits them well. Soren and I talked about this morning on the pregame show. From the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line, this defense looks like it's got some major, major holes in it. But when they get around the 20, 25-yard line, they seem to tighten up, and they become extremely opportunistic, and you saw it again today.
Well, yeah, Soren already said they're going to Super Bowl, so don't worry about it, Mark. You don't have to. Our final hot topic, did the College Football Playoff Committee get it right? Soren.
I'd love to spin this around and say, how did they get it wrong? Because, all I ever hear, every year the brackets come out in the NCAA tournament, and the committee's a bunch of fools. And now for the college football playoff, it's amazing. All the people that had to have a playoff, all they do is dump on the committee and dump on what they put out there. How did they get this wrong? I don't see any way they got this wrong. Yes, they got it right. Alabama's number 1. They kept Clemson and Ohio State on the other side of the bracket, so you're going to get at least one of those two teams in a championship game against Alabama. And those are the two teams that I think people feel like have the best chance to get the win. Washington's in there, deservedly so. They have only one loss. They're a conference champion. And I think they did a nice job if you look down beyond those into some of the rankings. Penn State gets credit for winning the championship and bumps up in front of Michigan. Oklahoma didn't handle any of their business in the non-conference, but won their league, so they move up there into the 7th spot. Yeah, I think they did a really good job. I don't know what you could have asked for to be different other than have more teams, which this committee didn't have an opportunity to do.
And Mark, we could actually ask them if they'd get 8 teams in it. That might help it out a little bit, just like the NAIA does.
Yeah, I mean, the NAIA put 16 teams in. You look at Division II, they got 28 teams in it. FCS has 24. This committee got it right. You can't put a 2-loss team, into this 4-team college football playoff at this point. Nobody's going to be happy with it until they expand it out to 16, 24, 28 teams on a formula that the NCAA has used before with their lesser divisions. I mean, you look at it, there's always going to be somebody that's upset they're not in. I think they got it right. I don't think there's any other way you can look at it. Now, you can argue all you want about whether, Ohio State never won their conference and they didn't even make it to their conference championship game. Yeah, that's just the way the structure of it is right now. The way it's structured and the way it's laid out, it's the 4 best teams in college football. And if you're playing well at the end of the season, like Ohio State was, like these other teams were, you're going to make it into the 14 playoff.
Stephen?
I mean, in a perfect world, at least for me, for this year, I'd like to see the 5 conference champs, the Power 5 conference champs, and 3 at-large bids, but that didn't happen. But to be honest, it doesn't matter because it's just a contest as who gets pummeled by Alabama. That's it. and no one's going to care who number 2, number 3, number 4 were. Nobody can compete with Alabama. It's going to be boring. It lacks intrigue. It lacks any mystery because Alabama is by far the best team in the NCAA, and the other 3 don't matter. Sorry.
Final word right there. Up next, we're going to get their final thoughts on anything that is on their minds. You're watching Sunday Sound Off.